Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's episode, I'm going to be doing a little canning, and if you'd like to see what I'm getting up to in the kitchen, stay tuned. Today, I'm going to be using my much loved Instant Pot to make bone broth. Now, you can use whatever kind of bones you have available to you. I made my very first batch of bone broth recently for my sister, and she had chicken parts. I think she had turkey bones as well as chicken feet. And so I went to the store and I had every intention of buying some chicken, but I ended up not getting any. So I just picked up some chicken feet, and at the store that I got them from, they're labeled chicken paws. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by cleaning my chicken feet. You do whatever you want to do with your chicken, but I'm going to clean my chicken feet, and then I'm going to add them to my Instant Pot. My Instant Pot, let me show you. My Instant Pot has a few different settings, and so I'm going to be using the soup broth setting to make my bone broth. I've tried making bone broth for the first time in my mother's Instant Pot. I bought her an 8-quart Instant Pot, and I used that to make bone broth for my sister. So I'm going to be using my 6-quart bone broth to make bone broth. My 6-quart Instant Pot to make bone broth for me. So this is my first time making it for myself. My sister raved over what I made for her. So I thought, to start out my canning for the week, I'm going to start out with bone broth so I can use this as my base. So let me get to cleaning up my chicken feet. Now that I've cleaned my chicken feet, I'm going to place them in the Instant Pot. Now that I have my chicken feet in my Instant Pot, I'm going to season the pot. I'm just using whatever seasoning I choose. I'm using garlic. I'm going to put a bay leaf inside. This is just a reused container. So one big bay leaf. That was a really big bay leaf, so I just need one. I'm going to use some turmeric. Just put in however much I want. Now my onions were fresh and I ground them down, and they are sticking together in this reusable container that I have. So I'm going to have to kind of dig them out a little bit. They're going to come out in chunks. So I'm just going to get some onions. I'm going to have to mix these down again because they are chunking up on me. Sometimes this happens. There we go. I like onions, so I'm going to put some onions in there like so. And I will grind this down again a little bit later. And last but not least, I'm going to get some fresh cracked pepper. Let me get that. It's off to the side. Now in my pepper mill, I put black pepper, I put mustard seed, and I also put cilantro seed or coriander seed. And so I'm just going to crack some fresh ground seasoning, however much I like, just like so. And now the water. In your Instant Pot, you have two lines. You have your half and 2/3. 2/3 for this particular one is the maximum. So I'm going to fill it all the way up to 2/3. And I just pour in some water. Trying not to splash anything anywhere. There we go. I'm at the max line. 2/3. That's it. That's all the water I need. So now we turn it on. Now that I've filled it with water, I'm going to place my lid and close it. Now I'm going to be turning my sealing vent. It's either venting or sealing. And I want to turn it over to sealing. That sounds about right. I can't see the words. Oops, excuse me. Sorry guys. I'm still getting over not feeling well, so sometimes I lose my voice. I do apologize. But yes, venting is this way, sealing is this way. And I want to make sure it's on sealing. Now I have this little rubber tool on top of here because on your Instant Pot, if you don't have anything on the top, it will let out a huge burst of steam, and it could damage your upper cabinets. And so this will allow the steam to go down and not on any of your surfaces. Oh, you guys can't even see what I'm talking about. Sorry about that. You couldn't even see what I was talking about. This is my little tool that I put on top of my Instant Pot. I got it from online. It allows the steam to go down versus to shoot up and to affect your cabinets. So now we're going to turn it on. Now that our lid is closed and we have it on venting, we're going to hit the button soup broth, and it's going to go for 30 minutes on high. I'm going to let it depressurize by itself, and if it doesn't look like it's done a good job of pulling out all of the goodness out of those chicken feet, then I will run it again for another 30 minutes and then see what it looks like. So I'll bring you guys back in 30 minutes. While I wait for the canner to come up, well, the Instant Pot pressure cooker to come up to pressure and cook those chicken feet, I'm going to place 4 cups of water in my canner. That is the recommended amount of water to pressure can with. That's 2. That's 4. Now to me that doesn't seem like enough water, but it said 4 cups. So I'm going to reread the book and just make sure, because it said 4 cups. I had to go back to my instruction manual because it's been a year since I've pressure canned. It is 3 quarts of water. I looked at the bottom of that canner and I thought, that is not enough water. And I'm so glad that I looked at it and I knew that that wasn't enough. I haven't been canning in a year. And you know, if you're not real good at it, you will forget. If it's your first time, you will forget. And so you must start out with the recommended amount of water. You do not want your canner to run dry. You run the risk of damaging your canner and not being able to can in it again if you don't put the recommended amount of water. And that, for this canner, My 23 quart Presto is 3 quarts of water. So now that that's going, I'm going to turn my eye on low and warm up my canner so that I can have warm bone broth. Say that 5 times fast. I can have a warm canner, and my jars are already in the dishwasher and they're on the heat setting. So while we wait for the bone broth to get done, we're going to warm up everything that we need so that everything is warm when we get started. The bone broth is finished. I turned the Instant Pot off. So now it is I need to open it up. So it is really very hot. I'm going to turn it, lift the lid, and turn that lid away from me because it is crazy hot in there. And I can see, let me show you all. I can see my broth can use more time. So what I'm going to do is, let me show you what this looks like. That's beautiful. This can be canned. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to can this, and then I'm going to run this again and create more. So let's do that. So now what I'm going to do is I've just taken my jars. They are warm. They are not incredibly hot, but they are warm. And as you can see, can you guys see that string? I don't know if you guys can see that. It is beginning to congeal. So this is really, it's really good stuff, but I am going to, let me move this out of the way for a little bit. I'm going to run it again and get more bone broth. Let me get my funnel. I'm not prepared over here, y'all. Hold on. All right. I had everything I needed on the opposite counter. Now this bone broth is hot, so I'm just going to ladle it out and put it into the jars. And if you guys hear any noise in the background, that's just my dogs. They are rustling around, playing, getting ready for bed. So I'm just going to ladle this in to a 1-inch headspace. And since this is a liquid, I do not need to debubble. And if you hear that rumbling, I also have the dehydrator going. I'm dehydrating some cuties so that I can continue to make fertilizer. So a 1-inch headspace, and that looks about right. Over to the next jar, and I'm going to show you what this looks like in just a second. And I do not have a canning funnel, so I'm making the best of what I have. I'm making a little bit of a mess here. Again, I do apologize for all the racket in the background. My youngest dog is playing, and she can get pretty rambunctious when she's playing. So I hope you all don't hear that. So I'm going to show you these 2 jars once I get them full. And then I'm going to speed this up so that you guys don't have to watch this real time. And then I'm going to add more water and I'm going to run this again. I want to get all that goodness out of those chicken feet. And those chicken feet have more to render. So that looks like a 1-inch headspace. And I can see there's a little bit of fat, but that's okay. Fat is somewhat good for you. I always hear people say fat is where the flavor is. I think that's hilarious, but that's what I hear them say. Fat is where the flavor is. So I have a cup of vinegar here. I've already checked my rims. I don't have any cracks, any chips. My jars are clean. I'm going to run this over the top of the jar, making sure I don't have any residue of any kind. I'm just going to wipe it off like that. And I used opposite ends of the towel. I have my lids over to the side here. They have been washed. They have not been sitting in warm water because you don't have to do that anymore. Let me get another one. And for some reason, the the dishwasher made them look a little rusty on the top side. But I'm gonna wash those off, so I'm not really concerned about that. And then you fingertip tight. Now these are hot, so let me get my towel and then hold on to the jar because they are hot. Fingertip tight. Let me move this out of the way. I'm working in a very small surface over here today. I'm using the smaller cabinet for my instant devices. Fingertip tight. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. And that is my bone broth. And you can see that there's some fat collecting on the top already, but I'm not concerned about that. So I'm going to place these in the canner and speed this up and can up the rest. All right, so the canner is as full as I can get it. I'm all out of broth, so I'm going to place the top on the canner like so, and I'm going to push it down and close it up. Now I'm going to make sure that the canner is evenly sitting on the heat, and I'm going to turn the heat up to high until it starts to vent a steady stream of steam out of the vent pipe here, right here. And once it starts streaming or steaming steadily for 10 minutes, then I will put on my jiggler and I will begin to process. So it has to steam for 10 minutes. After that steady flow of steam for 10 minutes, I will put my jiggler on and begin my processing time. And my ball blue book for preserving says these need to process for 20 minutes. So now we're gonna sit and wait for it to start steaming. Can you see that steady stream of steam? That has to vent for 10 minutes. And then after that 10 minutes is up, you begin to time your canner for however long your food needs to process. So time to turn on that 10 minutes. My 10-minute timer just went off. So now it's time to put on my jiggler. Whoops! I always get scared to do that, y'all. I'm afraid I'm gonna burn myself. And now I'm going to let this start jiggling, and then I'm going to turn down my temperature to get the correct jiggle, because it can't be too fast and it can't be too slow. You know when you see it, it's just right. And now I'm going to time this for 20 minutes. Full transparency, I was totally freaking out. My jiggler just started jiggling just a few moments ago. I just turned on my timer for 20 minutes. As you can see right here, that's moving a little too fast. So I'm going to turn my heat down just a smidgen. And what I've noticed is there is a tremendous amount of condensation inside of the, and I'm still new with all of the terms, but the pressure gauge. There's a whole bunch of condensation there. I'm going to double check this when the canner completely turns to cool and it's just not hot at all. I'll check on it tomorrow once I'm done. But it is too much condensation. There should be no condensation in there. And now my poor jiggler has stopped jiggling. So now I'm concerned that maybe I've turned the heat down a little too much. Let's turn it down. Let's turn it back up just a tiny, tiny bit to see if it'll start jiggling again. Oh, I'm freaking out, y'all, because my jiggler should be jiggling and I turned it down just a little tiny bit and then it stopped dancing for me. Full transparency. See, this is why I only canned last year and I completely stopped, because this wrecks my nerves. Okay, it's been just a few seconds, but can you see now the jiggler is wiggling, and that's how it's supposed to wiggle. It's not supposed to wiggle wobble out of control, but it's supposed to have a little bit of wiggle. So the 20-minute countdown is on. Sorry I'm shaking the camera, y'all. This wrecks my nerves. The 20-minute timer has gone off. So now I'm going to turn off the eye and let this come down off of pressure naturally. I'm not going to move this to a unheated eye. I'm going to leave this as is. Not going to try to move this canner. So as soon as it comes down off of pressure, I will come back and I will open it up so you can see how my jars look. I'm going to let them sit with the top ajar or the lid ajar for 10 minutes before I take anything out of my canner. The canner has come down off of pressure. I'm going to take the jiggler off and let this canner sit untouched for 5 minutes. Once the canner has sat like this for 5 minutes, I will open the lid and leave the lid ajar for an additional 10 minutes before I take any of the jars out. I am trying to prevent siphoning. This canner is really very hot. Even the handles are a little warmer than I would like. So when I open up this canner, I make sure that I'm away from the steam. I don't want to burn my face, my arms, or my hands. I am also very aware of my feet when I'm canning. I make sure that I have on shoes. The timer has gone off, so now it's time to take the lid off the canner. I am placing it off to the side, and so far my top jars look pretty good. Sorry about that, I hit the canner. I need to grab, oh, they're already beginning to seal. How exciting! I must have taken my towel and put it in the dirty clothes basket, so I'm just going to use a paper towel, and I'm going to grab my jar, my first jar, and lift it out. And you do not want to, I'm going to show you guys these in just a minute. I'm going to take them out of the canner, and then I'm going to move you so that you can see them, because you don't want to bend these or lean them over in any way. You want to take them straight out of the canner. That way you don't affect the seal in any way by turning them. You just grab them and pull them straight out of the canner. And this part always makes me extremely nervous, picking up my jars. Let's see. I have to be very slow in this process because Makes me nervous. Now I do have some sediment in mine. I ordered some new cheesecloth and it did not come in time. It's supposed to be here tomorrow. And so I did not have my cheesecloth. So I could not strain it, but I'm not worried about the sediment. So I'm going to take my rack out. Set it on the back side of the stove. Can you guys see? I'm looking down in my canner. My water still looks clear. I still have water in the canner, so the canner did not run dry, and I'm thankful for that. So I'm going to take these jars out. Slowly moving them over off to the counter. They look pretty good for my first time making bone broth for myself. It's funny how I do things for other people and then I go, oh, well, let me do that for myself. So I'm hoping that it's going to be really good. I'm sure it is. My sister really enjoyed the batch I made for her. So I'm not worried about it. And I'm going to use this for anything that I would normally use water for in my cooking. So making rice, making soup. Ooh, it's pinging. Whatever I choose to use water with, I will substitute that for using this bone broth. And just from the looks of me pulling things out, I have very little siphoning. Very little siphoning, and I'm so excited about that. I'm always worried about siphoning. And my last, oop, did you guys hear that ping? My last jar. Now, so a couple of my lids have come loose, so I'm going to check on those. So let me take you guys over to the counter. All right, I am done with my canning for tonight. You can probably see they are bubbling. They look pretty good, and they are pinging like crazy. So I'm excited about making my first attempt for me bone broth. Like I said, I've made this before for my sister, but this is for me. And so this is going to sit here until tomorrow after I get off work. I will see if they've all sealed. I will clean the jars, take off the bands, and put them away for later use. Thank you all for joining me in the kitchen today. I hope you enjoyed. Oh, did you hear the ping? It was so exciting. I hope you enjoyed going with me on this canning journey. It's been a while since I've canned. If you like this video, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. I do my best to reply back to each and every person who replies to me or sends me notification. Subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed and you come back every week to watch my videos. And I want to thank all of those who watch my videos, all of my subscribers, all of my unsubscribers, everybody. So until I see you in the kitchen again, have a good night, everybody. Bye for now.